I remember when I was a kid and I used to think, I love UFOs, and maybe when I'm older, I can make videos about the stories other people make up about UFOs, and then, make money. What a career. Wow.
UAPs, UFOs, 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 UAPs, UFOs.
Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch. Game, Skinwalker Ranch. Ranch. Game, Ranch.
UAPs, UFOs, 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 UAPs, UFOs.
Found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics.
Now turn to the business of this game. More than 50 years ago, the U.S. government ended Project Blue Book.
Let me share with you the first video that we have here today, which shows an observation in real time.
There's a bright orb running the length of my arm.
That's the object that we're looking at right there.
Oh, Lord, thank you, my Lord.
Is that it right there?
And Alexi, what I'll ask is if you can stop it at a certain point.
Okay, if you could stop that. That's not that.
Have we attempted to communicate with those objects?
No.
Are you aware of a document that appeared around 2019, sometimes called the Admiral Wilson Memo or EW Notes Memo?
I am not.
You're not. I'm not personally aware of that. Okay. So you're not aware of that?
I'm not aware, Congressman.
This is not worth wasting resources on.
Number 5, trans-medium travel.
My God.
The 5 observables. The 5 observables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, trans-medium travel.
My God.
Now, goddamn it, Bobby. I don't care what Chris Mellon said on Fox News. You're not giving money to that blank 182 fella.
But Dad, they promised to build a spaceship.
No one's building a spaceship, Bobby.
But the Daily Mail reported that.
Those people are all insane.
Hello, I'm Tom DeLong, and thanks for joining us live today. This quote above me actually happened to me this past year. I sometimes call to the stars a science fiction Disney, but for adults.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome. Today is Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, and May 31st is also my birthday. I also share a birthday with a friend, my good friend Matt at the cabin, his wife, Rita. So happy birthday to Rita as well. I was going to take tonight off, but today has been a whirlwind of all kinds of things happening. First of all, of course, we have the NASA UFO hearings today. But I quite honestly was expecting a total nothing burger. So I thought, if it's a nothing burger, I can, take tonight off. But I can't do it. I can't do it because there were some stunning revelations, friends. And welcome one and all. And welcome, of course, to a lot of you new folks who have been recently subscribing. We thank one and all of you for lending us your eyes and ears. So tonight, we're going to be going over some of the stunning revelations that have taken place today in today's hearing. And, I'm sure that some people, when they hear there was stunning revelations, and I believe there was, they will think of disclosure, of course, because these same disclosure dork clowns have been promising us major revelations coming soon for decades. And it never comes. But there were some stunning revelations today. A few months ago, I had said, and I can find the clip for you, I said it multiple times, that in the coming months, there would be new revelations that will cast further doubt on the false narrative that was fed to us through Lou Elizondo, fake UFO program Pentagon insider, who claimed he ran a UFO program, but that program actually didn't exist. It wasn't funded. He later admitted it was an activity. All right, sorry. All right. All right, so in the hearing today, and by the way, we're going to get into some things like the harassment and the venom and the, I would call it, cyberbullying and harassment of many of the more skeptical among us. And I have watched as people have said and done absolutely just deplorable, disgusting, despicable things to anybody that was questioning the narrative of these UFO profiteering clowns. So I just want to put it on the record to all you Lou Elizondo fans, you owe everyone an apology that you were nasty to, that you sent nasty messages to, that you doxed, that you harassed, that you cyberstalked, threatened, intimidated, because today we got more confirmation that your UFO hero is a goddamn profiteering clown. Congratulations, you dumb dickheads. Look what you did in that man's name. You dumb. Look what you did. You were willing, many of you, who put this man on a pedestal, who bought his completely and totally false narrative, hook, line, and sinker. All of you, not all of you, but many of you were willing to go after anybody who questioned that narrative, anybody who questioned the so-called evidence that this man put forth, all three of those videos that he, let's just say, borrowed from the Pentagon, all three of those videos completely debunked. But now we've got NASA scientists confirming the debunking of it. And I get it. Here come the excuses. Oh, no, it's still a mystery. We don't know what it is. But it is not what we were told it is. That much is clear. Also clear is that all of you idiots who went attacking anybody who questioned the narrative owe some apologies. And today I watched in glory as many of you cowardly little men went on tweet delete tirades, right? We got to get rid of all that stuff we said about this video being aliens. Yeah. Don't erase history. I've screenshotted a lot of it, and you're not going to escape that which you said. And to those who, I don't know, did things like, let me talk about it in a personal sense first, right? I got doxxed. People threatened me. People came into my live chat and threatened my wife by name, right? Said they were outside. We're putting our address all over the internet. And why? Because I said that Lou Elizondo was just another UFO grifter, and he is not who he is pretending to be. And I said that from the date of his outing in this so-called New York Times article. Then we hosted a filmmaker who made a very critical film of this man. By the way, most of the information in that, or almost all of it, turns out to be accurate. And that's what really caused a lot of the clown patrol to come after me, because I dared to talk to a filmmaker who had a lot of questions, like, who's Lou Elizondo? But today, and by the way, it's very clear. Some of these people are running around right now saying, well, why didn't they say this back then? People did. People did the trigonometry back then. I have a background in computer science, so math to me comes pretty naturally. But most famously, it was Mick West who did the same exact analysis that NASA did. It looked to me like NASA looked at his analysis and said, yeah, that looks good, write it up. And Mick West sort of joked about, finally, he got peer reviewed today. And even though I think he was kind of joking about the peer review, he is correct. Because the hallmark of a great researcher is that they can show you their work and someone else can go through the data, do the work, and get the same result. And that is exactly what happened. So I think it was in 2019, Mick West said this object is not what they're saying it is. It's not low and it's not fast. It's high and slow. And here's the evidence and here's the proof. And, one thing that people should really, really understand is that math is the all-powerful language of the universe. And you can't really fudge the math. The math proves that this object in the so-called Go Fast video was not what Lou Elizondo claimed it to be, was not what everyone pushing it claimed it to be. And the fake UFO program director, right? Let's forget that he's a fake UFO program director. let's just pretend that he was a UFO program director, right? We'll play along with his delusional fantasy world. And by the way, several months ago, I want to make sure that I put on the record that I told all of you that more revelations will be coming that will cast further doubt on one Lou Elizondo. More real truth will be revealed, and people are going to have to start waking up. They're going to have to start apologizing to everybody they viciously, venomously attacked, harassed, threatened, intimidated, bullied, trying to bully people into silence. Don't mess with our hero. He's not a hero. He's just like every other person out there selling UFO trash. He sells trash. Put a goddamn sanitation worker's uniform on him. He doesn't belong in a military uniform. He is the trash man of ufology now. How do you like that? Dox me again. I don't care. My address is everywhere now, right? So the trash man of ufology comes out of the Pentagon lying to everybody. Well, I used to work for the government, but I quit because I don't agree with that UFO secrecy, and I'm going to work to get us disclosure. Sure you are, with your borrowed Pentagon videos, and that's the best you got, bro? You worked in the Pentagon and those 3 garbage videos? That's the best you can get out of the Pentagon? Which further proves something that some of us believe, which is that the government knows no more about this than any of us regular citizens that are engaged and interested in reading and following. They don't know anything more than we do. But it doesn't stop the trash man of ufology, Lou Elizondo, from getting television show deals with lies, lots of publicity in the New York Times article. Oh, he even got an award from GQ, right? He's a hero of the year. He's a trash man selling garbage. But don't worry, he'll take his garbage before he shows it to you, and he'll put a facade of gold on it and present it to the UFO disclosure dorks of the world, claiming that it's something it clearly is not. Now, let's play along with the trash man of ufology, Lou Elizondo's delusions of grandeur, that he was running a UFO program. Great. So you're running a UFO program for the Pentagon, and you don't have anybody that could do like second year college level math? I don't even think it is. I don't remember. I think I first took trigonometry in high school, but I was in AP classes. I don't know. I don't know what level of education you need to do the it's granted, it is trigonometry, but it's not super advanced math, right? So the trash man of ufology, Lou Elizondo, is running a Pentagon UFO program, and he can't do like first or second year college student level math and figure out that this thing is not what he thinks it is. So there are 2 possibilities. Again, either the lie by omission, either he knew that this thing wasn't what he said it was, or he's an idiot. Either way, he's not your UFO hero. He is the trash man of the world of UFOs. And by the way, that's where his book is going to be, in the trash bin of ufology. And I'm done caring, right? I try to, after all that hubbub about him, I try to you know what? I don't care. Let the Lou Elizondo butt lickers go at it, right? Get down in there. Get it real good, you bunch of dummies. First, he sold you a completely and totally false story about his background. Then somebody bent the rules, according to Christopher Mellon. Some would say that's a little more than bending the rules, Because if you or I took government property and used that to profit for years and years and years and got television show deals and book deals and big money speaking engagements based on things that we borrowed out of the Pentagon that didn't belong to us, we might be prosecuted. But let's forget about how he got the videos. They are all garbage. Not what they were sold to us as. And if that's the best that he can do, running a UFO program, first of all, the guy can't do like first year college level math. Congratulations, trash man. Some intelligence guy, an intelligence guy who doesn't have the intelligence to do first year college math, but okay. Or his Pentagon UFO program did not have the vast resources it would take to get a college student to do the math required to debunk this fake go fast video as nothing special. Because you remember all of the things Lou Elizondo and all of his butt licking crowd, get that, oh Lou, I love it, Lou, right? You remember, oh, these things defy the laws of physics. Nothing can move this fast, right? No, no, because although Mick West and several other people who know how to do first year college math proved years ago that that object was not moving fast, what did Mick West get for that? He got attacked. He got death threats over this video and his debunking of it. And I cannot believe that some people's level of venom goes that high, but it sure does. And it's just ridiculous. And the levels of harassment on the side of the believers going after skeptics or people who are, poking holes in the so-called evidence is so bad that NASA called it out, commenting on the harassment of their scientists, commenting on the harassment of government officials. And isn't this incredible? And isn't this interesting that all of these disclosure dork clowns wasted all of our taxpayer dollars forcing the government to give us, you got to investigate this and you got to look into this, and wasting millions and millions and millions of our dollars. It's all our money and it's all being wasted. And what are we wasting the money on? Chasing shadows. And a bunch of people are demanding this who have a faith-based belief system. They've already drawn their conclusions. It must be aliens, must be aliens. The government's lying. The government's not doing enough. The government's doing this. The government's doing that. All of these disclosure dorks is who forced the government to create this UFO office. But now the UFO office comes out and says a lot of things that the disclosure dorks don't like. So now they're the bad guys. You created that office, you bunch of dummies. This is what you asked for. And who the hell in the world thinks that let's get the government to give us the truth? Because that makes a lot of sense, right? The same people who have been allegedly or apparently running a cover-up for 70 plus years, suddenly we're going to trust them to give us the truth? Why? Because of a few people came out of the government and claimed that they were going to work towards disclosure with us? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But I just want to display to you the level of harassment that some critics will have to go through. This is great. Mick West is an effing dick who needs to shoot himself, right? Mick West is a effing D who needs to shoot himself, right? Anti-Semite, alt-right bigots are not a part of the UFO community. They're bugs that crawled in through the floorboards. And of course, I've got 100 more screenshots. I'm not going to bore you with the details. But when there's people out there telling people That skeptic needs to shoot himself. He needs to commit suicide because he's blowing holes in all of these false narratives. And let's be very clear now. Those narratives that all these true believers were running around attacking people, in this case, telling somebody to kill themselves over those false narratives being called into question, now know, or should now know, scientifically proven with math, they were wrong. They were fed a false narrative by a very shrewd manipulator, an intelligence officer, trained in the art of deception, trained in the art of subterfuge, trained in the art of misdirection. The man who said he was sent into the UFO community to apply his counterintelligence skills, right? He had a Freudian slip on one of those 300 True Believer shows that he used to go on to have his balls licked. You remember that? And he said he was sent into the UFO community. And he manipulated all of you with a completely and totally false narrative. Or he's a huge idiot and no one should trust anything he says. And let's also not forget that Lou Elizondo also has superpowers, right? According to the testimony of Jeremy McGowan, but I've been able to confirm that with one other person. He told one other person that I'm aware of his superpowers. And there may be some more evidence coming out. Remember, months ago, I said there's going to be a series of revelations about Lou Elizondo, and it's going to completely destroy the entire false narratives. We got to see one portion of this today. Because today, in glorious fashion, NASA scientists confirmed Mick West's debunk of years ago was completely and totally correct. But that's not what we were told, right? I mean, the narrative that we were told was a sensationalized narrative of this thing moving super fast, right? It would have been kind of hard to sell a television show if you said, "Yeah, this thing's going 40 miles an hour and it's low, it's high up in the atmosphere and it's going 40 miles an hour." We don't know what it is, right? A lot easier to sell it if you start hyping how fast it's going. Wow, how could it be going this fast? This thing is really booking. Remember the television show? In case you forget it, in case you forget that overhyped, ridiculous, garbage television show, starring Lou Elizondo with lots of tenets of his false narrative in there. Don't worry, because Stephen Greenstreet was kind enough to remind everybody today and then sort of bring everybody down to earth. You can follow Stephen Greenstreet on Twitter at Middle of Mayhem, or make sure you subscribe to the New York Post and watch The Basement Office, which has taken a very skeptical view of these things lately, as well he should. But Stephen Greenstreet reminded everyone of this false narrative that everyone was spoon-fed.
This video has come to be known as Go Fast and shows an object speeding just above the water.
That thing is hauling
That's
ass.
exactly my point.
It's a little less than 2/3 the speed of sound.
How is the craft able to fly so fast?
We can apply basic trigonometry to figure out how far it moved. And in this case, this object moved about 390 meters in 22 seconds. And that corresponds to a velocity of just 40 miles per hour.
That thing is hauling
That's
ass.
exactly my point.
40 miles per hour.
It's a little less than 2/3 the speed of sound.
40 miles per hour.
But how is the craft able to fly so fast?
40 miles per hour. 40 miles per hour. 40 miles per hour.
Well, there we have it. The false narrative destroyed. not by, and here's how you know that debunk is correct, because multiple independent people did that debunk, and then NASA scientists did the same analysis and came up with the same results. That's science. Repeatable results. That's science. Now, I'm sure all of the true believers are out there trying to figure out how do we spin this, right? And there was some mention of orb-shaped craft, right, that we see doing strange maneuvers throughout the world. And that's what they jumped on, but they sure didn't like this stunning revelation. Yeah, and I am going to cite fair use, and we're going to go back to Mick West's original. This is 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Mick West told us all the truth. And what did he get for it? Venom, vitriol, and people telling him to go kill himself. All of you who did that should be ashamed of yourself. Go to church, loser. Go to confession. Go tell a priest what you did. So I just want to make sure that we're aware that people were telling you the truth years ago, and instead of being celebrated for telling you the truth, they were viciously attacked and harassed endlessly for doing that, right? Isn't that great? This is Go Fast Explained, and it's from Mick West, and this is from 3 years ago now.
Episode 4 of the History Channel's show Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation centers around 3 videos, commonly referred to as Nimitz, Go Fast, and Gimbal. All 3 videos were extensively analyzed on Metabunk over a year ago. Nimitz is probably just a distant jet. Gimbal is also probably a distant jet, but this time with a rotating glare that's just an artifact.
In other words, all 3 of these videos are nothing.
But what I want to discuss here is the Go Fast video. This video appears to show an object flying very close to the water, which is how it's presented on Unidentified.
That thing is hauling
That's
ass.
exactly my point.
It's a little less than 2/3 the speed of sound.
This description is repeated on the To the Stars Academy page, where the video was first released. A white oval shape moving at high speed, flying very low over the water. But is it really low and fast? No, it's not. It's actually high and slow. And we can prove this with the information in the video. There's a bunch of numbers on screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was so low, guys. I apologize.
The altitude of the jet is pretty
Let's back it up a little bit.
Very low over the water. But is it really low and fast?
Nope.
No, it's not. It's actually high and slow. And we can prove this with the information in the video. There's a bunch of numbers on screen. The altitude of the jet is pretty constant at 25,000 feet. The calibrated airspeed in the lower left is also fairly constant at around 255 knots, which gives a true airspeed of 370 knots when you correct for the 25,000 feet pressure altitude. The jet is flying straight at first, but after locking on, it banks about 13 degrees to the left. I extracted this information by feature tracking the ends of the horizon line, so the jet's turning a little bit to the left. The number at the top is the angle of the camera relative to the front of the jet. It goes from 35 degrees left to 58 degrees left. The number on the middle left is the camera's downward tilt. It goes from 22 degrees down to 35 degrees down. One of the more important numbers here is the range number, on the right-hand side, labeled RNG. This is the distance to the target in nautical miles. It does not show up until the target is acquired, but then it goes from 4.4 nautical miles to 3.3 nautical miles. So we can use all these numbers and how they change over time to do 2 things. Firstly, we can calculate how high the object is. That isn't too complicated. We know the angle the camera is looking down at. And
so you know, one of the things that I think is very important for us to recognize here is if Lou Elizondo really was who he says he was, then he is a super genius of the millennium, right? He's running a UFO program and he couldn't find some math nerd like Mick West. No offense, Mick West, right? Mick West is a programmer though, and I'm a computer science guy. We know math. And all of the data to do this analysis was in the original video. And Mr. UFO program director, he could have done the analysis before he hyped this out the wazoo, made millions of dollars off of this nothing burger of a video and 2 more nothing burgers of a video in the form of TTSA investment garbage, right? He could have done the analysis. The same thing that Mick West did is doing here. And they didn't do that. Instead, they ran to sell it. Does that sound familiar? Kind of like some UFO clown who could have figured out that something was flares, but instead of figuring that out, he ran to sell the story instead. Or some third phase clowns, right? Finding a high altitude balloon video. They could have just spent 35 seconds and told everybody that it was just a high altitude balloon, but instead they ran to sell the story of a UFO. Sound familiar? They all used these same methods to sell their garbage.
We know the distance to the object. So the height of the object below the camera is really just simple trigonometry. It's the range multiplied by the sine of the downward angle. If you take the object at the start and the end of the tracking, we get 4.4 nautical miles times the sine of 26 degrees gives us 1.92 nautical miles below the plane. Then at the end, 3.4 nautical miles times the sine of 35 degrees gives us 1.95 nautical miles, about the same. Then it's an object that's around 13,000 feet above the water. And it's also being viewed from a jet at 25,000 feet. So basically it's halfway between the jet and the ocean surface. This is very important because it means the perceived motion of the object against the ocean surface, even if it were moving very slowly, or even if it were not moving at all, would be the same as the speed of the jet itself. This parallax effect is hugely magnified by the high zoom, which is set to NAR, narrow, or around 1.5 degrees field of view. So, we've already seen the unidentified analysis is wrong. It's not close to the water at all.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that Mick West pointed out that this Lou Elizondo television show analysis was completely and totally factually incorrect. The math doesn't add up. And what did he get for that? People telling him to murder, oh, you should kill yourself, right? You should commit suicide. It's the level of venom against people that are clearly trying to tell you the truth. It bothers me. Like, what is wrong with some people, right? I get it. You want to believe it's aliens, bro. I get it. But you're going to run around and tell people to kill themselves over this?
At 13,000 feet. But is it, as they say,
hauling
That's
ass?
exactly my point.
It's a little less than 2/3 the speed of sound.
Hauling ass and 2/3 the speed of sound? No, not even close.
Nope.
It's going as slow as 20 to 40 knots. Just wind speed at that altitude. We can determine this with some slightly more complex analysis. So we know that.
Yeah, and here it just gets into a lot more math, and I don't want to bore you with the math, but I trust me that the math, Mick West math, is correct. I believe so. Other people I've shown it to that I know are very, very skilled in math believe so. And remember, this is not super advanced math. This is entry-level trigonometry to do this math. And now we can juxtapose Mick West's analysis to NASA's analysis, and I love it. Several people on UFO Twitter are claiming that the math is wrong. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure a NASA scientist knows how to do basic trigonometry, but they're grasping at straws, trying to put together any excuse. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I apologize. We want to make sure that we recognize the live chat. I saw a whole bunch of super chats, so we're going to do that real quickly now. We want to thank Martin Wright for a kind and generous £5 and for being a member. Says Steve is upping his game. Live streams are better than anything on the web, and his music hits the spot. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Yeah, and we want to thank Gunslinger for kind and generous Canadian $6.99. Says to the cons, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, because I know your secrets, I know your lies. Thank you, Gunslinger. Very poetic today. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, continued support of the show. We have DJ D's with a kind and generous $5.55. And thanks for being a member as well. Says happy birthday, Stephen. Praise the cash. It's math. Yes, and we thank Zizix, longtime show supporter, for a kind and generous $2 super chat and for being a member. And we thank Totem R for a kind and generous $3 saying happy birthday. Thank all of you guys. I appreciate it. I already got everything that I want for my birthday because vindication is the very best thing you can get. It is just, today was glorious for me. A little stressful, however, because my older son has terrible asthma and it was a very, very bad pollen day, and he had trouble breathing today. My wife had to take him to urgent care, but he is recovering. He is fine. We gave him his meds. He is going to be resting and probably staying home for the next couple of days because we're expecting a couple more bad pollen days. So I did have to punt we punted my birthday dinner and the cake and the ice cream, but I'm here celebrating with all of you. And that's good enough for me. And we also want to make sure that we thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Now, I'm sure there's been some controversy of real world clowns, like trailer park trash, attacking our show here and attacking me using my son in our show. But we're not going to be... I'm not going to change things because some loser who works for the biggest hoaxers on planet Earth is being critical. He knows what he can do. As for the rest of you, we want to thank all of you for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
There's our little cash clown, and we thank him for his, he made my birthday special today. Lots of hugs. Stephanie and the Willows with a kind and generous $4.99 says, happy birthday, friend, and we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Jason, who's also a member, another $5. Thank you all for your kindness. I am blown away. Al Warrior, a longtime show supporter, one of the original OGs of both the Midnight Hour and Truthseekers, kind and generous $5 says, happy birthday, Stephen. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. I appreciate it. And I've already got everything that I need. I upgraded the computers here in Truthseekers land. And I'm telling you, you have to upgrade all your computers before you understand why you should have done it sooner. But thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. Everybody welcoming the cash clown. Yeah, he's going to have a job here, whether people like it or not. And I've got other bumpers that I never finished of him in like a spacesuit or something else. Some grifter scammer who works for grifter scammers is, they have nothing to attack me on. So when we debunk them out the wazoo, they got to find something. Oh, he's using his son in his show. Do you have any idea? This kid hangs around here. He's like, what are you doing today, Daddy? Oh, we're setting up a new set because I can't use the old. He helps me do everything. He is learning the value of money. He is spending quality time with his father. He's learning about microphones, cameras, production, how to produce a show, how to make music for a show, how to make bumpers for a show, voiceovers, everything. And I'm not going to stop doing that because some loser living in a trailer. Well, You know what does discourage me, though, is that I have to compete with these grifter, scammer, loser, liars, right? This guy gets caught lying to his audience for more than a year. There's private messages that prove he's a scammer, liar, and he lied to his audience and everybody else. Still got an audience, right? Shrinking one, but he still got one. And that bothers me. He should be erased from this thing. Right? We got enough grifters here. We don't need new ones, right? All right. Skinny Bob. Yeah, we got to get him a Skinny Bob outfit. Yes, you're right. Yeah, he is. And you know, he wants to start his own YouTube channel. We're going to help him do that. He's going to be a monster at this. I'll teach him everything I know. Yeah. And I really am having the best birthday that I've ever had. Amy WC says, best birthday present, 12, mom found a genuine Hawaiian ukulele. Oh, that's pretty good, especially if you like ukuleles. I used to have a friend that played that, and I used to always bust his balls like, get a real guitar. But he was great at it. And it's easy to carry, right? Yeah, I agree, John. I don't need to compete with certain people. It's like we're in the same arena, but that guy's, you know, nowhere near my level. So it really doesn't matter. It shouldn't bother me. It's surprising to me that somebody can lie to their audience that much and still have an audience, but there's no end to stupid people. So he can have all the stupid people. We have all the smart ones right here. So I wanted to make sure that I share with you. This is, we've seen Mick West's analysis. Now we're going to see NASA's analysis, which is incredibly similar.
Next build. Just hit space. Yeah, okay. So this is, this video was recorded by pilots deployed from the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt in 2015. The example has been given the nickname Go Fast, because it gives an impression of an object moving very rapidly against the ocean surface. And, you know, the question is this impression correct? And, you know, if not, what can we say quantitatively about what that object is doing in kind of Earth-centered coordinate system? Fortunately, the information needed to determine the altitude and velocity of this object is contained on the display. So go ahead and next. And this includes the elevation angle of the camera, the azimuth angle of the camera, the target range in nautical miles, aircraft altitude.
It's like they took notes from Mick West, who did the debunk the same way. So I kind of laughed when I heard him say, oh, finally, peer review, because that is exactly what this is like. And again, that's the hallmark of a good researcher. Somebody can go after you, do the same work, and get the same results.
The time reference in seconds, indicated airspeed in knots. You know, this information in this video in particular has been discussed quite a bit on the web. So let's begin with the object altitude.
And by the way, somebody was taking shots at Mick West going, well, they didn't name you in the hearing. Did you hear he just said this information has been discussed quite a lot on the web? Yeah, because of Mick West. So who cares if they didn't name him? He's the one who did this analysis, and he's the one that I believe they are referencing in this hearing.
Next, please. So knowing the jet's altitude and the bearing to the target, we can apply basic trigonometry to figure out where that object is in altitude space. And it's turns out to be, you know, provided the range information is accurate, which can have some uncertainties associated with it, but the object appears to be at about 13,000 feet. An important aspect of this here is that it's sort of midway between the jet and the ocean. So it's the ocean that...
This is Mick West's debunk. I feel like NASA might have copied Mick West's homework here, but we'll allow it.
Looks like it's right behind it is actually 4.2 miles away. And this is our first indication that some or most of the motion that we observe, the apparent motion of the object, is in fact due to the rapid motion of the sensing platform, which is about 430 miles per hour in this case. but we don't have to guess about this. So we have enough information on this display to actually reconstruct the encounter. Go to the next slide, please. And so this is what this is. This is using additional information on the screen, including the time axis. And so we know that this aircraft is banking about 15 degrees left, and you can compute through a simple calculator the approximate radius of curvature of the flight. And the bottom line is, I won't go into detail here, but if you can get the bearing and range to the target at 2 locations with known separation in time, you can figure out how far it moved. And in this case, this object moved about 390 meters in 22 seconds. And that corresponds to a velocity of just 40 miles per hour.
Gee, exactly in line with McWest's analysis, both for altitude and for speed of the object.
And so that's a velocity that's consistent with wind speeds at 13,000 feet. So it's not our task to conjecture what this object is, but it's an example that illustrates the type of data needed to determine critical parameters that will help us identify such objects going forward. In addition to the importance of quantitative analysis, this example also serves to illustrate the kind of cognitive bias we have to contend with for UAPs recorded from unfamiliar perspectives. And Sean Kirkpatrick showed another example of that. This is a parallax effect case.
Eat that parallax, bitches! Right? All you people, it can't be parallax. It can't be. It can't be. Well, math doesn't lie. And now we've got NASA scientists confirming McWest's now 3-year-old debunk that he got attacked viciously for, right? And you may be wondering, I know some of you may be wondering, why is it that the trash man of ufology, Lou Elizondo, the trash man Pentagon UFO program director that never was, right? I'm forever going to think about him in a trash man outfit, following a trash can around, throwing UFO videos into it so that he could get a deal later, right? I used to know a guy in my old neighborhood who was a trash man, and he used to, like anything good in the trash, he would throw it aside. They would get a separate truck at taxpayer expense to come and pick up like furniture and stuff, and then he'd be at the flea market selling it. That's Lou Elizondo. He took these trash UFO videos that don't prove anything, that aren't anything spectacular or special, misidentified nothing burgers, threw it in the truck, and then he went off to sell them. That's exactly what we have here. But you may be wondering why people like Jeremy Corbell rush to sell something as stupid as flares, right? And that's another thing. I forgot to do it. I always forget one video. 1 second. I'm going to have to play this one from Twitter, but that's okay. Because Charlie Weiser is back on the attack because, besides Lou Elizondo trying to profit from garbage videos like this, the king of trying to profit from garbage videos is, of course, none other than Jeremy Corbell, who has profited from, what is it, 3 or 4 or 5 now videos that were nothing burgers, total nothing burgers, but they were hyped up to sell them as something that they were not. And Jeremy Corbell is straight lying to everyone, right? He didn't say it was a spacecraft, but he kind of did, right? He's kind of sideways said it was a spacecraft. Isn't it wonderful? And here we have Charlie Weiser. And wait, let me put my fair use banner up because these guys are, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say why. 1 second. This is fair use because this is a comedic parody and it's covered under fair use, right? So Charlie Weiser with a wonderful video proving that Jeremy Corbell is just straight lying to everyone. And the backpedaling is wonderful now.
You remember last week in that show where we declared our belief that this is an alien spaceship, an emissary from the planet Kondak, right?
How might it react if it's intelligently controlled?
Was it you who said that?
I'm definitely saying that we have a spaceship. Now, I fucking didn't say that. I was very clear. This was an object. The object was sitting there. So I'm not going to say object anymore. It was a craft. It was a craft. It was a craft. This is something Arrow should know about. My mom, this craft, right on top of this craft that was there.
He didn't say that.
Illuminate this craft and what this string of
He
lights
didn't
on
say.
a craft
He
looked
didn't
like.
say it.
So this was not flares, not flares, not flares. The craft was sitting there, and while the craft is stationary, and you could see the shape of the craft.
Uh-oh.
As it's getting close to that craft, the entire craft disappeared. So this was not flares, not flares, not flares.
Not flares.
My mom, this is something that was a mass sighting.
Oh. Come on, Twitter. Really?
Of a UFO, an incursion over a military base. This was a craft. This was a craft. This was a craft. My mom, if there is an incursion of an unknown craft of unknown origin that can hover like that with zero sound. No, I fucking didn't say that. My mom.
All right. I don't know why, but I got that playing in the background too. Oh, no wonder. All right. No wonder I was having issues. All right. I got it. Sorry about that. So here we have Jeremy Corbell pretending he didn't hype it up as a spacecraft, right? He clearly said craft 100 times in his original broadcast, right? Archaic Revival says, I'm sorry, but Jeremy Corbell needs to go. Yeah. Amy got banned on Twitter. I'm sorry to hear that. And on my birthday, too. Come on. I could try to message Elon Musk for you. I don't know. Right? The greatest UFO expert. Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But isn't it interesting? And we've also got Corbell dead to rights with another total bluff, right? He got his bluff called out terribly on a television show. And I think it was glorious because, oh yeah, by the way, Spooky is undercover right now. Contact in the desert. We'll have more about that later, but I wanted to share with you this wonderful video of Corbell getting called out on a total bluff. He's just making up stuff, you know, because he likes to pretend that he's some kind of secret agent and that people are giving him secret information, right? And I reached out to somebody in the military and showed them this clip. And when they got done laughing, they told me that would never happen, Stephen. And they explained why. But let's see what garbage Jeremy Corbell is telling people on actual national news networks. This is the best and the brightest of the UFO believer crowd.
So are we alone in the universe? That question just got more
This is fair use.
New footage shows mysterious lights spotted over a military.
Why am I having trouble with this? I knew I should have sucked all these videos in.
Base in California back in 2021. Investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell shared the video for the first time.
Did you catch that? He's an investigative journalist now, right? Not a quantum jujitsu instructor, not a quantum yoga instructor, not a failed artist whose mommy and daddy paid his bills for years. No, not a failed MMA fighter, right? Not an investigative filmmaker. Now he's an investigative journalist.
On his podcast.
And let me be the first to tell you that a real investigative journalist wouldn't sell a fake story about UFOs based on flares. But here we are. Welcome to Corbell's Clown Show.
Weaponized. And he's now joins us to help explain this alleged UFO sighting. So, Jeremy, help us make sense of this. How do you explain this footage and what sort of questions do you think we need to be asking?
Right. Well, we're asking them. So this is an exciting and an open investigation. We don't know.
Yeah. Before they said they worked on this investigation for 2 years. After he got busted that this is just flares, now it's an open investigation.
What was seen at 29 Palms military base, we know that the Marines are saying that they saw a craft. However, the internet says they saw flares. And there's a pretty compelling argument for that. So at this
No, it's not a pretty compelling argument. It's overwhelming evidence of that. You clown show. Jesus.
moment, this is an open source crowdsourcing to the military to see, hey, can we have more people come forward? Because this process is so filled with stigma, investigating UAP, as our government calls them, which are just UFOs. So right now, this is an open case. We do know.
I love how he uses the CIA word, UAP, right? I'm going to try my very best to refuse to use that. I'll use it in hashtags and stuff, but I'm not going to say it. It's a UFO. UFO is the word. Don't use the CIA terminology, right? Maybe we got another Bobo on our hands, right? The last dummy that they propped up to sell the false UFO narrative was Tom DeLonge, right? And they burnt that Bobo out. They need a new Bobo. And ask around, if you have any CIA friends, what a Bobo is. We are witnessing one right now.
That there are cases that are not open. We know for sure that our government is studying UFOs. They've revealed that undeniably.
Yeah, the super genius of the millennium is telling us that we do know the government is investigating UFOs. Yeah, it's all over the news.
UFOs are real, meaning advanced machines of unknown origin.
No, that's not what UFOs means. UFOs does not mean advanced machines of unknown origin. It just means an unidentified something in the sky, unidentified flying object. That's what UFO means. It doesn't mean advanced aerial unknown aircraft like you want it to mean. Translation, it's aliens. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's definitely aliens.
Where we don't know where they're from, we don't know who pilot them, and we don't know who built them. And
again, pushing aliens with no evidence of aliens.
These are the big questions. So this one is just about trying to get more information.
Yeah, he had 2 years to get all the information. And he just so happened to leave out all the stuff about the flares and the military exercises when he originally put this out. The only reason he started having to address the flare issue and the military exercise issue is because, once again, he got busted almost instantly as soon as he put out this latest garbage video, which is flares.
So we asked the Pentagon for a comment, but we never heard back from them. Do you believe, even if they gave us a response, would you believe them?
You know, everybody that I've talked with at the Pentagon,
here's where it gets thick.
Straightforward. They want to know too. What, you know, there are machines that fly in ways that we can't replicate, we can't duplicate. NASA is currently going to have a conference on this really soon. So
where is Jeremy Corbell's evidence that there's machines that operate in ways that we can't replicate, we can't duplicate? This is the new way to say it. The old way to say it was these things defy the laws of physics. But then Eric Weinstein and other scientists blew that talking point out of the water, saying there's no evidence that these things defy the laws of physics. Show me the data. And no one could. So now they've changed from saying these things defy the laws of physics to slightly different wording of the same sentiment. Oh, these things, you know, they do things we can't duplicate, we can't replicate. Show us the data for that. He has no data to support that. None. Zero. Full stop.
So it's not a matter of belief. UFOs are real or they're not real. Any particular case like this one, if we can solve it and it's flares, great.
We did solve it, and it is flares, but you're still selling it as a craft.
But the concerning thing for me is I know personally that pilots are being asked to scrub their footage of unidentifieds, of UFOs, of UAP, and this needs to stop.
By who?
Thank God someone on a television show with him called his bluff. He just said that he knows for a fact that pilots are being told to scrub their UFO footage. By who? Are the men in black getting to every pilot in the United States and forcing him to scrub all the good UFO footage? That's why we only get the garbage footage? Who? This wonderful Fox News newscaster says by who?
We need a
telling
better
them to do
reporting
that?
process.
Who's telling them to do that? Because
Yeah.
that goes back to my trust question. Who's telling them to scrub that footage?
Yeah, it's unclear to me. I think that sometimes people.
He got called on his bluff. Why can't you answer a very simple question? He just said, I know for a fact that pilots are being told to scrub their footage. Who told you that? Well, it's unclear. You said you knew for a fact, right? This is another Corbell bluff. He's trying to play, Secret Agent Man. I got to get an alternate of the song Secret Agent Man. And every time one of these clowns says the secret agent thing, like, well, I'm getting classified information, or we shoot down UAPs as recently as last Friday, and I'm being told that we're shooting at UAPs, or I know for a fact that pilots are being told to scrub their UFO footage. I want to be able to play Secret Agent Man song. He's not a secret agent. He's a clown. But it is what it is, right? This is just another new bluff from Corbell, as if he hasn't lied to everyone enough. Here's another one.
People just want to stay on mission, and this is a hindrance. We need to elevate this problem of not having a 360-degree view of our defense systems by making sure that there's proper reporting systems in place.
Yeah, and I just want to say, it must be nice to be able to go and advertise your show on national news media 22 times in 1 week, right? Like, imagine if I can go promote Truthseekers 22 times on national news networks, right? But instead of, somebody telling people the truth, being able to promote their show, which is evidence-based, truth-based, fact-based, we get a goddamn clown show getting those opportunities instead. And by the way, I just want to make it very clear that a lot of these news agencies, I'm told, use a casting website. Guess who's getting on the casting website as a UFO expert? And by the way, I'm not a UFO expert. It's a goof. Got to call myself a UFO expert in order to get these news spots as a UFO expert. I'm considering it because I have an agent. I have contacts with agents. I'm going to get, and by the way, do you know who else is on those casting websites? Lou Elizondo, Nick Pope, and a few others. So when you see these talking heads, the producers of these television shows go to these casting websites to find their UFO expert when they need a talking head. That's why he's getting the gigs. Good agent, right? Grew up on the West Coast in Hollywood. At least he learned something, right?
For our military personnel and our service members. So that's the issue that we have right now.
Yeah, he's doing this all for the military personnel, not for his own pocket. How much money did he make off of this flare garbage? We're going to do the math and we'll bring it to you.
We have to heal that divide.
Yeah. So a new poll reveals 92% of UFO sightings take place in the United States. So I guess, do the aliens love America? Because it's only happening
That
here.
That's got to be an incorrect number. There's a lot of polls that are incorrect. This is a global phenomenon.
I don't care what he says. It may be a global phenomenon, but most of the news, you may be surprised to learn, but ask some of your Australian friends. Ask, even in English-speaking countries, I mean. Go ask your Australian friends how much they hear about UFO news. Go ask your friends in England or, any other English-speaking country. How much UFO news do they get? All of the UFO stories, news, and most of the cases come out of the United States. Do you know why? Because that's where all the grifters are, right? Except for Nick Pope. He was from England, but he came over to the United States because the grifting is better here.
It has been going on since the beginning of recorded human history. It'd be funny if they really liked our beer or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be neat. But at this point, what I'm realizing is that the UFO phenomenon has been around a long time, since human beings have been talking about the sky that they're looking up at. I certainly hope we're not alone, but I just don't know. At this point, it seems like Congress and Senate taking it very seriously as a national defense issue. And look, man, as a journalist,
he's a journalist now. He's a journalist.
It's our job, as my mentor George Knapp said.
My mentor.
It's our job to investigate the unexplained, not to explain the uninvestigated.
Yeah, it's so true. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining the program.
All right, that's enough of that. So another big bluff from Jeremy Corbell. People, he knows for a fact that pilots are being told to scrub their UFO footage. Maybe that's why all we get is grainy ass garbage, right? No, this is another secret agent man bluff, right? He's getting secret intel from all these pilots. They're telling him they have to scrub UFO footage. And by the way, go ask an Air Force officer or a pilot about scrubbing your aircraft's recording systems and what would happen to you if you did that. Now, are there cases where your superior officer can order you to? Well, technically you have to follow orders, but I think this is clearly another bluff from Corbell. But it's interesting. And as far as the UFO hearings today from NASA, I could bore you with 4 hours of basically a lot of nothing, but we're trying to just give you the good cliff notes. Also on the subject of Corbell, some of you may remember that splashdown video. I think that the director of Aero today, Kirkpatrick, directly addressed one of Corbell's garbage fake videos. I believe that's what he's talking about, but since he didn't name any more data to identify which UFO video he was talking about, but I still think this is interesting because I think he's talking about one of Corbell's garbage videos.
Your first question on what makes it anomalous.
Oh, God, come on, man. What is going on?
We actually developed some definitions on all of these things. We gave it both to the White House and to Congress. I think we've got some of that into law now, but essentially anomalous is anything that is not readily understandable by the operator or the sensor. Right? So it is doing something weird, whether that's maneuvering against the wind at Mach 2
You're right,
with
Davina.
no apparent propulsion, or it's going into the water, which we have shown is not the case. That is actually a sensor anomaly that we've now figured out. And we're going to be publishing all of that. Those kinds of things make anomalous signature. We'll call it signature management, but it's things that are not readily understandable in the context of, hey, I've got a thing that's out in the light. It should reflect a certain amount of light. If it doesn't reflect that amount of light, something weird.
Interesting. So more data may be coming to blow Corbell's previous splashdown garbage video to hell. Shogun is here and says, can vomit in slow motion. Liars. Yeah, pretty interesting. This also, I wanted to share this from Jeremy McGowan. This is an interesting tweet by him. The disclosure fantasy popped as fast as a balloon shot with a Sidewinder missile. Give it 36 hours for the spin doctors to get in sync and start saying how NASA and Aero aren't the real agencies investigating UFOs, and that they have inside info coming soon that will shock the world. And Brad Burry says, cue Gary Nolan. Adam Parker, at 40 miles an hour, the balloon definitely would be pretty easy to target for sure. Yeah. And I agree with Jeremy McGowan. The spin doctors are fully at it already. I've watched people still arguing with Mick West. You would think that Mick West has been vindicated in his earlier Yeah. And Steve Boz on Twitter says, I love that UFO Joe is tweeting, Aero and NASA must be wrong because Lou said, never change, man, but please don't lecture me about not having an open mind. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the video that we shared comparing what NASA said to what Lou Elizondo said is really making the rounds on Twitter. He's got like thousands of tweet impressions on that, right? And of course, though, you got to know that the true believers will always find something that they can, sell. Mysterious metallic orbs flying all over the world, Pentagon says at NASA UFO panel. And who tweeted that? George Knapp, right? Because they sold a story about an orb, right? I think that maybe Ross Coulthard ought to hurry up with the analysis of Jim's balls, right? And it's interesting just scrolling Twitter today to see the various Stephen Greenstreet there, go fast, speeding, yeah, hauling. Yeah, and Stephen Greenstreet says they basically just copy pasted Mick West's SITREC analysis from 4 years ago. Oh, so it was 4 years ago. It's so insane. It took 5+ years to hear this from an official government platform. Yeah. Mick's SITREX below has it around 100. Still not very fast, but a factor of 3 from 40. So people are going to argue this endlessly, right? For years, this video was unexplained stuff and incorrectly claimed by many to be a, quote, real mystery, unquote, because they mistakenly believed it showed something it did not. Those mistaken people include people who worked for the DoD, including people whose job included looking at UFO reports. Well, I don't know about that because Elizondo's job didn't include looking at UFO reports, and he's the one who hooked it up, hyped it up. It took them 7 years, according to alien scientists, to release the NITS report on Building 7. Yeah. That being said, I am much more satisfied with NASA's explanation of Go Fast today than I was. Yeah. He liked what NASA said about this today better than what people said about the 9/11 stuff. So interestingly, the debate rages on, and of course the true believers have found something to hold on to, and that is these reports of metallic orbs, right? Interesting. But of course, we've got this Vicky Verma and a bunch of and that, who's that liberation garbage peddler? It's interesting, right? Oh, and then also, I wanted to take a moment. This is interesting. Lou Jimenez shared this. NASA was talking about the scientists at Aero or NASA getting harassed by UFO people. Well, here's one of those clowns. Yeah, I'm not even going to name the show because I don't want to drive traffic to this idiot, garbage peddler, UFO circle jerker, right? But interestingly, like I said, these people wanted a UFO office. They pushed for it. They demanded that the government waste money chasing shadows like this 40-mile-per-hour nothing burger from Lou Elizondo, right? But when the government office comes out and says there's no evidence of extraterrestrial visitation or any extraterrestrial evidence, then they turn on the government office, and all of these people, including podcasters, show hosts, Twitter clowns, and more, all started attacking this Dr. Kirkpatrick, who runs the government's UFO office, because they're not saying and doing what the true believer clown show people, the disclosure dorks like this guy, want them to. right? They want the aliens and the crash retrievals and the bodies, right? Which, hey, for all I know, they actually exist, but there's no evidence so far of that. But interesting that NASA and they are literally publicly talking about, in the hearing today, they publicly talked about the venom and harassment that is coming their way from essentially UFO disclosure dorks like this clown.
Let's see. That was our Senate hearing that was on giving testimony there. That was Dr. Sean Kirk-Quadcopter. He holds a doctorate in balloons from Siegel University in Swamp Gas, Ohio. All I can say is what a load of shit that was.
Yeah. If they don't say what the disclosure dorks want, and by the way, this is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. Lawyer letters are standing by. We have won every false copyright claim ever levied against us, and we'll continue to win them. And for those unaware, if another show host falsely copyright claims us, we fight them, and then they get the strike for false copyright claiming. This is clearly fair use. I'm using this as an example of the venom and hatred and harassment being levied against people that aren't approving the aliens narrative, that aren't, worshiping the saviors of disclosure like Lou Elizondo or others. And this is what happens. You wanted that UFO office. They did the science and determined that largely they're chasing shadows, just as I said years ago. This business of investigating UFOs is largely chasing shadows and a lot of wasted time on nothing extraordinary. That's what you wanted. That's what you demanded. But when the government scientists did not agree with your already pre-drawn conclusions, suddenly they were incredibly bad people. Suddenly, they get mocked, they get harassed, they get intimidated. People are saying all kinds of stuff. And all you have to do is look on Twitter under some of these clown show guys' accounts, right? I'm going to look under Liberation Times Twitter, and we can see this clown Christopher Sharp, who runs the biggest rag garbage, and he calls himself a journalist, right? Yeah. So they do like that Aero director, Dr. Kirkpatrick, said, we see these metallic orbs all over the world, and we see these making very interesting apparent maneuvers. They did like that, but they don't like a lot of other stuff that he has said, like there's no proof of extraterrestrial intelligence, right? Or whatever it may be. I'm trying to find some of these examples now, right? One second. But it's interesting to see, right? This guy is so toxic. Yeah. We can just share his Twitter feed, right? Here he is retweeting and supporting a clown that's selling flares as UFOs. This case has not been properly reported through active United States UAP investigation channels. Article by Christopher Sharp, right? So triangular UFO hovers over California. First of all, you dummy, it wasn't triangular UFO, but this is Daily Mail, right? The story is up. Thank you, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, for the excellent work. You mean the garbage peddling, right? This is garbage peddling. That's what these people do, right? Bombshell audio recording. Retired U.S. Air Force Captain Robert Salas will release a recording of part of his Pentagon Aero interview. Yeah, And that was a big nothing burger. He's pissed off because they can't find records from 1962 to prove his wackadoo claims, right? UFO debunkers beware. Yeah, right. Yeah. I was trying to find stuff specific to attacking the government scientists. I'm sure there's some there, right? I try not to look at these UFO believers. Oh, StandForBetter.org. That's a good one to check for, right? Oh. And I love how these people are so into politics too. A Pentagon office is developing new sensors to better detect UFOs. Well, they like that, right? Maybe this one's not so bad. Oh, see, they love the orbs. They all the true believers love the orbs, right? NASA does not know the origin of UFOs. The origin of UAP remains unclear, right? All of this. One second. All this. Why are they always into politics and constantly tweeting political garbage too, right? Debunkers, we don't have the testimony that they checked any of the raw gimbal sensor data. Lieutenant Graves, we have a crowd of fascinated intel officers and aircrew who watched all the data. Endless arguments about nothing, right? And you can get your fair share of politics one way or the other. These people are all into that too. Boring, right? All right, we're gonna wrap it there. I don't know what I could say to wrap it up. We can watch 3 hours of largely nothing burger. I think that the stunning revelations were two things. We're going to follow up with the Office of Aero to find out if he's referencing one of Jeremy Corbell's garbage videos when he says that the splashdowns aren't what they appear to be. They're a sensor glitch. And of course, the most stunning revelation to me today was that it wasn't stunning to me. Mick West was right 4 years ago. Mick West was right. Somehow, however, these people, it's amazing that it took the government 4 years to essentially copy and paste Mick West's homework and agree with an independent researcher's analysis that thing was nothing spectacular. So let's review. There have been clowns for years saying that thing's defying the laws of physics. We can't possibly have anything that could duplicate this technology. We don't have something that could go 40 miles an hour? Of course we do. Now, you may be wondering why. Oh, why, right? I'm wondering myself, why is it that all of these people, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Third Phase of Moon, and others, Lou Elizondo, why are they so quick to sell you something before they even try to figure out what it is? And we're seeing over and over now, we are seeing some incredible examples of people that are either too lazy or too stupid to actually be UFO researchers or UFO journalists. If you're going to cover this thing, then you should know how to do things like check Flight Radar 24. Remember Third Phase of Moon? They couldn't spend 35 seconds checking flight radar data before they ran to sell the story, right? Because they want to sell you a story. They don't want to tell you, oh, it's a hot air balloon. I'm sorry. Oh, it's a high altitude balloon. And it's not just the top of the pyramid clowns that are making all the money. Third Phase of Moon, 800,000 subscribers. Jeremy Corbell, I don't know what he's at, probably millions of subscribers. Lou Elizondo, making big bucks, television show deals, book deals, speaking fees, right? They're all getting these big speaking fees. Third Phase of Moon making, they're kind of bottom feeders though. They're making like $500 a fake video, right? Lou Elizondo made hundreds of thousands of dollars from his 3 Nothing Burger videos borrowed from the Pentagon, right? Jeremy Corbell, tens and tens of thousands of dollars from his 5 or 6 garbage fake videos. And you may be wondering, why is it that they are so fast to not do any work? Why is it that, like, Third Phase of Moon couldn't do 35 seconds of work before rushing to go sell you a story? Why is it that Jeremy Corbell, he spent 2 years and he didn't know about the flares? Why is it that Lou Elizondo couldn't find somebody like Mick West or a computer guy like me that could do basic trigonometry and figure out the speed and altitude of that thing before selling it as something extraordinary? Well, there wouldn't have been a television show deal if he did this the right way. And this is the problem that we have. We have an absolute real lack of ethics and morality, because all of these people have a built-in motive to sell you the mystery of a UFO. They're not motivated to sell you flares. There's no money in flares. They're not motivated to sell you a sighting of a hot air. God, I keep doing that. They're not motivated. Like Third Phase of Moon is not feeling very motivated to sell you the truth of an identified high altitude balloon that you too can identify in 35 seconds on flightradar24.com. They're not motivated. Corbell is not motivated to sell you a story about, oh, that was just flares. Do you know why? Because those stories won't sell. So every time that you wonder, how could these people not do the least amount of work and just rush to sell you something? Well, there's a reason for that, and you can guess what it is.
The best things in life are free, but you can keep them for the birds and bees. Now give me more. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. Your loving give me a thrill, but your loving don't pay my bills. Now give me more. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
That's what it's about, friends. And unfortunately, I don't believe that this situation is ever going to change. I used to think it would, like, well, maybe if there was enough shows like Truthseekers and we opened up enough people's eyes to the reality of the layers of deception that are used to sell people false narratives, then things would change. But quite honestly, I think the only thing that has changed is that people like me or Mick West or Stephen Greenstreet or some of the other more skeptically minded people who still have an interest in this topic. By the way, it's okay. You're allowed to be skeptically minded and still interested, right? And somehow these lines in the sand are drawn, and and it's this huge argument back and forth. It's like ping pong, right? It's this huge argument back and forth, and you've got the believer side twisting facts to fit their narrative. And yeah, I've seen some of the people on the more skeptical side that are not being very honest in some of the things that they do to prove their point. It's this whole thing is, I don't think this is ever going to change, because if you look at the history of this, it has been, and here's another thing, and we really need to understand and recognize this whole field has been filled with con artists, charlatans, grifters, hoaxers, and scammers forever, since the early 50s, the 50s contactee movement started it all. Suddenly people realized that you could write a book about talking to the Space Brothers and make tons of money, And then there was all these alien contactees all of a sudden writing books and selling stuff, right? Nothing has changed. And we're no closer to solving the mystery now than we were in 1955 when the contactee movement was going on and George Adamski was showing people, you know, photos of essentially a lantern top thrown up into the sky and a picture taken of it. It's absolutely, it's comical to me that so little has changed. So we're going to take some time for your comments and questions. But before we do that, the show is not over. I have to caution everybody when I do this. We're just going to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. And if you'd like us to remain independent, as we have been since the beginning here, we're a viewer-supported show. So I got to find the bumper. I don't know why this is always an issue. Yeah. And we're going to have some music tonight. It's my birthday after all. So I've got a few more things in presentation to show you. But before we do that, I'd like to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. And we are able to remain independent because of the support of viewers like you. So one second here. And I've got a few more things to share with you, so don't go anywhere. Besides throwing money at us, which honestly is not that huge a concern anymore. It was when we started. We were struggling. We're doing much better now, and thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. We do have a Patreon. We have you can become a channel member. There's super chats. You can support us on PayPal as well. But there's other ways to support us. One of the ways that you could support us is to watch one more. Come back and watch one more when you have time. Not today, not tonight, but maybe tomorrow while you're working, while you're driving somewhere. It really, really does help. All right. Here's Ian to let you know how you can help support the show.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat group during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
All right, we're actually going to take comments and questions from the live chat. I want to make sure that we indeed thank everybody. You ever see that meme, like, brace yourself, the birthday messages are coming, like, all day today, all night. It was wonderful. So many people. I think I got 150 just on Facebook or something. And I'm sorry if I don't reply to each and every one of you. I'm hoping that this blanket thank you to all of you will suffice, right? Yeah, 156 friends posted on your timeline for your birthday, and that's just one form of social media. There's all kinds of messages in my inbox on Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you all. For your kindness, and yeah, I had a great birthday, and I got to celebrate it with you guys because we're gonna do the birthday dinner and all of that stuff tomorrow. I hope that my oldest son is feeling better. And Red Brick Investigations reminding people you can hit your free cash to Truthseekers on Twitch. Yes, it's a great way to support us. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you just attach your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. If you don't have a Twitch account, sign up and make one. It only takes a few minutes with an email account. Then you'll have a Twitch account. You connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. And then if you have an Amazon Prime account, they let you give, I think it's $5 a month to any Twitch streamer. And we're Truthseekers Show on Twitch. So every month we're getting every month I feel like I'm taking money right out of Jeff Bezos' pocket, and it makes me smile. So thank all of you for doing that. We really appreciate the kindness and the support. And I heard Charles Rowland mention the earliest substantial work in the field of artificial intelligence was done in the mid-20th century by British logistician and computer pioneer Alan Matheson Turing. Yes, and the famous Turing test was designed by him, which is a test to see if something is a human or an artificial intelligence. And you may remember this sort of test in the movie Blade Runner. They took that directly from Mr. Turing, and he was an incredible pioneer of computer science. I'm a big fan of his. And what a lot of people don't know is a real shame. The British government, for some reason, because he was a homosexual, decided to chemically castrate him with medication, which is just a terrible thing. I could imagine. Imagine losing all libido. Not a good thing. They basically tortured the guy for being homosexual. Later apologized, and but by then the damage was done. Amy WC with a kind and generous $10 super chat says, "Don't spend it all in one place." Well, we thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. And every time that somebody sends me a super chat, it makes a trailer trash clown cry, but it makes our cash clown just say praise the cash. Amy WC, longtime show supporter. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and of course for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
Yeah, lots of praising the cash tonight. Thank you all for the birthday cash. Thank you all for the support. It is much, much appreciated. Yeah, Jewel Chick Caroline says that is horrible. Yeah, you think? And I guess it was a different era and everything, and that was still very taboo. But still, to do that to another human being, yeah. And Ray Kachinka is here from the Facebook Live feed saying, "Happy birthday, Stephen." Well, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ray. Very kind of all of you. I had an incredible birthday today, except it was a little stressful. My son came home very ill, and he went right to his room to take a nap, which is very unusual for him. Normally he comes home and he wants snacks and he's running around. And but they told me that he was coughing and sleeping at school all day. I think they should have sent him home because he looked terrible. My wife took him to urgent care, had him checked out. He's fine. It's just his allergies acting up. So, we haven't had to give him we have one of those, I forget what it's called, but the breather for when his asthma gets severe. So he's being treated. I think he's doing much, much better tonight than he was earlier. So, hopefully he'll be feeling up to it. If not, tomorrow we'll just do takeout and birthday cake at home. I'm fine with that. I'm not really a go out kind of person very much. I prefer to stay at home in my caves here. Al Garay, holding down the Twitch chat, says, "Happy birthday, Stephen Cambion." Well, thank you. And Simon Fly gets the award for the best weird video. People sent me weird birthday videos all day today, right? And listen, when I say that I got some weird friends and they sent me some weird videos, one of them was what appeared to be, stay with me here. So one of my old friends sent me what appeared to be a super hot stripper chick, like talking about, "It's your birthday, big boy." And she appeared to be a super hot stripper chick. But then she started the stripper routine, and let's just say the word sausage, and you'll know what happened once she started taking her clothes off, right? It was a woman from the waist up, but not the rest of it was the sausage. And boy, that woke me up. But I can't play that one on the air. But I can play one, the runner-up, I guess, for the weirdest birthday video I've ever gotten. And by the way, why would you send a man? Don't do that. Don't send a man what appears to be a hot stripper chick, and then it turns out to be Sausage City, in the lower quadrant. Not fun. But Simon Fly just sent me a video and he's like, "Oh, here's a video for your birthday, bro." And then I watched it and then I was like, what the hell did I just watch? So I'm going to share that one with you. Happy birthday to me, and thank you all for the birthday wishes. And thank you, Simon Fly, for the second strangest birthday video that I got today. This one I can share with you. It's pretty that is the second weirdest. The second weirdest. I told you about the first weirdest. The second weirdest birthday video anybody's ever sent me. Yeah, what a strange day it has been. So Randy says Turing also made the first electronic computer made out of vacuum tubes. Yeah, that's very interesting, and you are correct. And when I was a child, I studied some of his earlier designs, and he had some super simple. I wouldn't call them, besides that, he had some other simpler maybe prototypes made with vacuum tubes. And I had a teacher help me when I was a kid to use transistors instead of vacuum tubes to recreate some of his earlier computation devices, which would be like not even as powerful as a pocket calculator today, but he pioneered creating computers. Yes. And Maze Rage is here. Maze Rage 86 with Kind of Generous 489 says, happy birthday, buddy. Here's some cash towards your very own Gary Nolan eyeliner. We're going to do that. We're going to come up with our own line of Gary Nolan cosmetics. No, we probably can't do that because we'll get attacked because of his orientation or something, you know. Somebody will find fault with that. But we thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Everybody in here throwing down some birthday cash, and we appreciate that. And thanks to all of you for helping us to praise the cash.
You're watching Truthseekers. Praise the cash, praise the cash.
So we'll take some comments and questions from the live chat. I've got a little more time to share with you. And winding down now. It's almost 11 p.m., so I've got 1 hour of my birthday left. Yeah. When I was a kid, they had machines in stores which you could test your vacuum tubes. Yeah, my dad used to fix old radios. He used to troll, and thanks for being a member. He used to get vacuum tubes somewhere. I don't know where. There was a place called Herback and Raidman and a few other electronic surplus places. But, you know, those old, back then, nobody wanted an old radio with vacuum tubes. So he would get them and he would replace the bad vacuum tubes and make the thing work again. And I got to learn a little bit about vacuum tubes. But by the time I was coming up, I was building things with transistors and things like that. And then ICs came, integrated circuits, and I was fascinated by what you could do with chips. You know, I was a Radio Shack kid. I spent a lot of time I spent so much time as a kid at Radio Shack that eventually, when I was 14 years old, the manager gave me a job, and he had to like go to corporate and like get special. You had to be 18 to work there, and I was like one of the first persons that I knew, at least in my area, to work there that wasn't 18. They made me like a stock guy, and I would like clean the store and I would stock the shelves. And I loved it because I got like a 25% discount on anything I bought at Radio Shack, including computers or parts or whatever. And I was always at Radio Shack when I was a kid buying like chips and resistors and capacitors and things and trying to figure things out, right? Randy Phillips says, yay, the cash clown. Yes. Praise the cash. Absolutely. Absolutely. I swear there are intelligence operatives in our live chat sometime sending out covert messages. I don't understand it. Hand purple piece. Yes. 555 timers. Yeah, I use those to build all kinds of things, Randy. You could build alarm systems with 555 timers. You could build sirens. You could build all kinds of things. I still have those Forrest Mims books, the Forrest Mims books that were like, you know, electronics notebooks, and he showed you how to build different circuits with 555 chips. I'm right on my workbench over here, Randy. I swear to God, I still have a bin with 555 chips just in case I ever need some 555 timer ICs, right? I like that, and I like the SBO AL256, the text to voice chip. I still remember that chip as well, and I still have a bunch of those just in case I ever need. I'll never need this stuff. It's just there. You know, I only had dial-up during the publication of The Wicked Current. Radio Shack was an hour away. They understood Windows ME. Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, ENIAC. Yeah, I know all about ENIAC, right? I know my computer history better than David Wilcock, of course. Radio Shack was a friend of dial-up, a last holdout in a small town in Tennessee. Yeah, we had a bulletin board system at the Radio Shack for a while, but then people started uploading pirate software, and I think like the regional manager or something found out and got nervous, so we had to stop running the BBS. But then I started running one at home. So, yeah, I was a Radio Shack nerd, says Red Brick Investigations. A lot of us were. I missed that place. Herzlicken Gluckwunsch Stephen Broody. How old are you? Are you too old? Are you afraid of AI? Herd E. Yudkowski. Yes, I have. And we're going to be doing a show. And thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. We appreciate it. You guys sure made it rain up in here. Thanks for making it rain up in here today, guys. That was very nice of you. Very kind of you, especially at the end of the month, which I've noticed. Yeah, Heathcliff Zenith. I once had a Heathcliff Hero Junior robot, and then I still have a Heathcliff Hero 1 robot, but the Heathcliff Hero 1 robot I got, the only reason I got it is because it was in a flood. Like somebody's entire basement flooded with 4 feet of water. And all the electronics inside this robot were destroyed, but I replaced it with a laptop and, like modern electronics. It's still at my shed at the cabin. Someday I'll pull it out. And I got to clean that shed anyway this year. Maybe this year I will clean it out and bring home. I got a bunch of old robot projects in that shed. If anybody ever breaks in that shed, they're going to think it's like the Terminator in there. There's like robot arms hanging. And UNIVAC had a recirculating mercury memory loop tank. Never heard of that, Randy. I'll have to look that up. That's right up my angle, though, of right up my alley of weird old tech stuff, right? Our Radio Shack finally gave up and closed 5 years ago. There is a deli there now. Yeah, I miss Radio Shack, but the last 10 years of Radio Shack sucked. They just turned into a phone store, right? And that's why they failed. They were successful because if you needed like a wire, a cable, speaker wire, some clips, something to hook something up, you could always go to Radio Shack. They stopped selling and they stopped catering to electronics experimenters, and they just became a phone store. And the problem with that was there was there was a phone store on every corner. So nobody went to Radio Shack for a phone. I think they mismanaged it. And I was a huge fan growing up of Tandy computers and Radio Shack computers. Radio Shack used to brand their computers Radio Shack computers. Later, they turned them into Tandy or whatever, Tandy computers. And I don't mean the Tandy computers that were just IBM compatibles, although those were good. The Tandy 1000 series was good. I was a big fan of the colored computers from Tandy. That's what I started on. It had a 6809 8-bit processor and 64 kilobytes of RAM, but had a multitasking operating system before anybody even knew you could do that. I still have them here. Ask Spooky was here. There's one on my bar. My bar, by the way, got emptied when I went on the wagon. So there's nothing in the bar. There's some like music keyboards and old computers just up on my bar. And I've got some old TVs. Someday I'm going to make that like a retro computer bar. Yeah. Yeah, I worked there from 14 till I was 20 something. I worked there a long time. That was one of my longest jobs as a kid. It was an easy job. I started out as a stock boy, and eventually I was a salesperson, which if I had it to do over again, I would have stayed a stock boy because selling people stuff was terrible, because you'd sell somebody one computer and then they would come and ask you, and you earned the commission on the sale. And then for 2 years, they'd be coming in asking you all kinds of questions and having all kinds of problems, and you had to help them. Was not fun, right? Yeah, caught Radio Shack at the end of an era, 2000. Smart kids in there who helped this lady with no idea. Yeah, it was a good place to go, too, if you needed help how to do stuff. Yeah, Spooky says, at my house, we have very cool old Amigas. That was my next thing. After I got over the Tandy addiction. And by the way, when I was growing up, we were poor. So like everybody was getting rid of their 8-bit computers and I was buying them all. And then I networked a bunch of 8-bit computers together in the garage. And then the electric bill came and my dad lost his shit. And then I got into Amigas after that to move to 16-bit. And I still have a bunch of those as well. You know, someday I might need those old computers, Spooky. When the apocalypse comes, I'll still be able to play like cool games, right? If I keep those Amigas around. John P. Adventures still sending codes, right? Can you tell us about Spooky's conference adventure? I don't know very much. It didn't start yet, right? Doesn't it start tomorrow? Or is that starting Friday? I don't know. I told Spooky to go interview some wackadoos and send me the videos. Spooky's supposed to be interviewing wackadoos. So just walk around, Spooky, interview wackadoos, send me the video. We'll have the wackadoo woo report from Contact in the Desert. I think this is a great idea. Upselling. Why I couldn't sell insurance? I tried, but I knew they didn't need it. Yeah, I would just start hanging out after the presentation. Yeah, I wasn't a good salesperson, right? Yeah, Spooky says starts Friday, right? Rope core memory, wires wrapped around through magnetic donuts the size of beads. Yeah, you should have seen some of my early monstrosities, right? I'll try to ask Linda about the PS2 game. Find somebody with a printer, print out the game, and get her to sign it, and tell her that your name is Stephen Cambion. If you got to pay, well, I'm not paying $50 for her to sign that, but if it's like $10, I'll PayPal you the money. Get her to sign it, right? I hear you, John P. Adventures, but yeah. Tandy started out a leather store, but then they started selling radios, and they became hugely successful selling radios. And the person running Tandy at the time figured out that they were making twice as much money selling radios that they were selling leather. So they pretty much phased out leather and just started selling radios and electronic stuff, right? No paid signings at the conference? Good. Go up to her and say, Steve Cambion from Truthseekers says hello, and he wanted you to sign this. Just print out. If you pull this off and mail it to me, yeah, I'm going to hang it in the Truthseekers office. Get her to sign. Just print out. Go get that video game cover and print it out on an 8.5 sheet of paper. And then take it to her and say, Steve Cambion from Truthseekers wanted me to bring this to you and asked if you could sign it for him. And you got to videotape it. Oh, we're terrible people, right? Yeah, Jill Tick Arlene says, I'd be a terrible salesperson. My bad attitude would kill every sale. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, right? Spaced Out Radio is here. It says, happy birthday, little Stevie Cambion. Well, yeah, thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. And I saw that you had, what's his name? Stephen Bassett. And I wasn't busting balls, but I was, because he said disclosure's coming in a few months. And I have a clip of him saying that on my show like 7 years ago or something like that, Dave. So I got to have him back, though. He did good. I grilled him when he was on our show. Yeah, I'm tall, though. Yes, I'm definitely tall. Yeah. So, boy, it has been a long day, and I need to check on my son, who you may have heard me mention earlier was very ill today because it was a terrible day for pollen, and he's got really bad asthma. So he ended up in urgent care, but he's fine. But I want to go and check on him and the other family members with the last hour I have here of my birthday. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Oh, we want to check in with one more thing before we bounce on out of here. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wow, look at that. I'm looking at this and I'm like, what? Why is it negative? I had to pay. All right, so we want to thank all you kind and generous benefactors, including Mr. Fish for a kind and generous $11.30 PayPal pledge. And I don't know if you meant to, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Fish. No, please don't read it out. I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Fish. We thank Mr. Fish for a PayPal pledge. And yeah. And we want to thank Dwayne for a kind and generous $12.90 PayPal pledge. Thanks for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much, much appreciated. This is Red Brick Investigation says, Dear Stephen, much love. Keep believing and send cash from Linda Moulton Howe. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe that Spooky might be able to get her to sign the video game cover for me. Spooky, if you get that done, I'm gonna put it in a big frame, and I'm gonna put the thumbnail from us busting her scam in there with her signed video game cover. Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Okay, so we have done our due diligence. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I'm going to play us out with the Truthseekers Classic, and that would be for the UFO. Of course, now I can't find it. Story of my life. I had something to play the show out with, and now, of course, I can't find it. Oh, the channeling step. Yes. So we want to thank Simon Fly. Stephen Greenstreet, we played his piece here. Lou Jimenez found that clip of the idiot talking about Kirkpatrick because he's not happy, right? Yeah. Oh, I found it. Good. So we'll play us out with some wonderful Truthseekers classic music from Simon Fly. It's called Circle Jerker Step by Simon Fly. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, our Patreon supporters, our channel members, super chatters, super thanks people, super sticker people, PayPal pledgers, you Twitch subscribers, and all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, that's all I got for you, friends. I'm going to go enjoy the last 49 minutes of my birthday. Thank you all for being here with me, and thank you all for helping to make it a special day for me. I appreciate it immensely. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you. Why has no one in the UFO community showed you the truth? Garbage peddler. Why has no one in the UFO community showed you the truth? Garbage peddler. Why has no one in the UFO community showed you the truth? Garbage peddler. Why has no one in the UFO community showed you the truth? Garbage peddler club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage peddler club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage peddler club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage peddler club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Where's the goddamn ball shavings analysis? Alien technology. Alien technology. Where's the goddamn ball shavings analysis? He is lying. He is lying. He is lying. He is lying. Where's the goddamn ball shavings analysis? Alien technology. Alien technology. Where's the goddamn ball shavings analysis? He is lying. He is lying. He is lying. He is lying. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. He is lying, he is lying, he is lying, he is lying. He is lying, he is lying, he is lying, he is lying. He is lying, he is lying, he is lying, he is lying. one in the UFO community show you the truth? Garbage analyst. Why has no one in the UFO community show you the truth? Garbage analyst. Why has no one in the UFO community show you the truth? Garbage analyst. Why has no one in the UFO community show you the truth? Garbage analyst club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage analyst club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage analyst club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Garbage analyst club, and I ain't it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Cosmic Con Shuffle. And I ain't it, 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 and I